Okay, we are live, friends.
Do you know how long 10 seconds is?
It's a 20-second delay, I think. Okay.
Should we switch?
Might not be a bad idea.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
You're on thing right now. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Okay.
So bad.
What?
I need to tighten this word.
Oh, just.
Yikes.
Okay. It's not going to go anywhere just yet. Okay. So, Joel or Pam, which one would you like to rather do? So, okay, for this service, do you want to use the headset? You're using a headset?
Whatever you
Well,
want
let's
to use.
get it on
I didn't know I needed to be mic'd.
for the service.
Yeah.
How are you going to sing?
Well, give me one. Give me a small pad.
Is that wireless 9?
Yes. Oh, I like these. They're nice. Check, check. 1, 2, check, check. 1, 2. Check, check. Oh, there you go. It's a little hot. Hold on. Let me move it away from my face. Okay. How's that? Better?
Try singing.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
We're good?
Yeah. These are really comfortable earpieces.
Hmm?
These are really comfortable earpieces.
I like those mics.
I like these. I'm a fan. They're nice.
It's not.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm. I can't. Seriously? Shana Tova to everyone. Wonderful to be together and be able to celebrate the beginning of this beautiful new year. Whether you are here with us, and mostly we're having people join us via our live stream, it's wonderful to be able to share with you. And so if you are here and you wish to, please send a note of hello in our chat box so that we can greet you and say a Shana Tova to each other. Whether you're on YouTube or on Zoom, please feel free to exchange Shana Tova greetings. And we are going to begin, and I will put up the prayer book that we'll be using. It will be one that's shown on the screen, so you don't have to worry about flipping pages or any of that. And so we will open this up. Here we go. Okay, and Shana Tova. Wonderful to have everybody with us. Here we go. Okay, we are set. Let's see. Do we have the Fuller family who are with us? Don't see them online, but nevertheless, we'll begin as we light our Yom Tov candles. And Yael, why don't you light candles for us? I don't, hold on, let's see. Rose, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, you're here, wonderful.
On it.
All right, hold on. Let's see. We're going to stop this for a moment. And there we go. Hi, Rose. Are you ready to light candles for us?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Go ahead, light your candles. You light there, we'll light here. Hi, Melissa.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Alam Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher kedeshani b'mitzvotav tzivanu la'adleknei sheyom hazikaron.
Wonderful. And Shana Tova to you, and happy and healthy. Creation's brightest light, the mystics say, was hidden at the dawn of time. But on this sacred night, this night of hope and joy, a glimmer of that light is here with us. In candles' flame, in children's eyes, in eyes aglow with wisdom's light. We lit our Shabbat candles, and we're going to begin with a song that teaches us all about the shofar. The shofar has a voice, and we want to hear all of you singing. Even if we can't hear you in person, we want to hear you all the way from your homes.
I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast, sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Ah, 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 ah. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year. I like to hear the shofar blast. Sometimes slow and sometimes fast. I like to hear the shofar blast. Happy, happy, happy New Year.
And we'll hear more from the shofar in just a minute, but right now, we rise together for Baruch. As we join together in Ma'ariv Aravim, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Asher Bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, B'chokhmah Poteach Sha'arim, Uvitvuna Meshane Itim Umachalif Et Hazmanim, Umisader Et HaKochavim, B'mishmerotehem Barakia Kirtzono. Borei Yom V'Laila Golel Or Mipnei Choshech V'Choshech Mipnei Or. Uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. The quickening of the moon calls us to return, and we gather, seam dwellers on the edge of the earth. As the sun lowers itself into the sea, introspection rises. A sliver cracks the heart of the firmament, the vast blackness, an invitation to write ourselves anew. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. And we join in Shema.
Shema
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Remember the stories of slavery, and you will never stop working for freedom. Remember the fear at the edge of the sea, and self-doubt will never defeat you. Remember when desperation turned to celebration, and you will never let go of hope. Remember the words of the Baal Shem Tov. Forgetfulness leads to exile. Remembrance is the secret of redemption. We join together in Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael, we praise you, Eternal One, the Redeemer of Israel. And we rise together for the Amidah. The words of our prayers must not fall off our lips like dead leaves in the autumn. They must rise like birds out of the heart into the vast expanse of eternity.
Adonai sefetai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava.
Zochrenu l'chayim melech hafetz b'chayim, v'chatvenu b'sefer chayim lama'ancha Elohim chayim.
Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofech cholim, Umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal geburot, umido melech, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua.
Mi chamocha el harachamim, zocher yotzrav l'chaim b'rachamim,
V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah Selah.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. We join now in our blessing for hearing the sounds of the shofar. We join and say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lishmoa kol shofar. And because this is the first time we hear shofar this new year, we join in thanking God with the words of Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Tkiya, Shvarim Trua, Tkiya, Tkiya, Shvarim, Tkiya, Tkiya, Trua, Tkiya.
Our prayer book has so many ideas, so many messages. But let's take a moment, close your eyes, and think of the messages and the ideas, the prayers that are in your own hearts and in your own minds. Just take a moment of silence and prayer.
Shalom Rab Yisrael Amra Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amra Tasim Le'olam. Ki atahu be'adon lechol shalom. Ki atahu be'adon lechol shalom. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amra Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amra Tasim Le'olam. V'tov beinecha le'varech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה לשלומך.
Shalom Rab Yisrael Amra Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rab Yisrael Amra Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam.
Tasim le'olam.
Well, each year, Sarah's mother and father spent weeks getting ready for Rosh HaShanah. They cleaned and they fixed up the house and they made sure that everybody had something new. One year, when Sarah was really, really small, her parents gave her a beautiful Rosh HaShanah blanket. And Sarah loved that blanket. On the holiday, she took it with her to temple. She brought it with her to meals. She brought it everywhere. And Sarah would never be away from that blanket. All year long, Sarah carried that blanket. By the time the next Rosh Hashanah came around, that blanket was pretty ratty. It was pretty dirty. The edges were tattered and frayed and torn. And her mother and father said, "Sarah, it's time for Rosh Hashanah. It's time for something new. It's time to get rid of that blanket." But Sarah said, oh no, Granny can fix it. And Sarah brought the blanket over to her grandmother's house, and her grandmother took it in her hands, and she turned it around, and then she started to work. And she snipped, and she stitched, and she clipped, and she sewed, and Sarah's grandmother made her a beautiful coat. And Sarah loved her fabulous new Rosh Hashanah coat. And she wore it to temple, and she wore it to dinner, and she wore it everywhere. In fact, she wore that coat all year long. But by the time Rosh Hashanah rolled around the following year, that beautiful coat was not so beautiful anymore. And her mother and her father said, "Sarah, look at your coat. It's splotched and it's splattered. It's torn and it's tattered. Your sleeves are too short. Sarah, Rosh Hashanah is here. The new year is coming. It's time to hear the shofar. Time for something new." But Sarah said, "Oh, no. Granny can fix it." So Sarah brought her beloved coat over to her grandmother's house, and her grandmother looked at it, said, "Oi!" And she turned it around in her hands. She began to work. And she snipped, and she stitched, and she clipped, and she sewed, and she made Sarah a beautiful scarf. And wow, Sarah loved her scarf. She was excited to show everyone her magnificent scarf. And she wore it to temple for Rosh Hashanah, and she wore it for all of the holidays. She wore it for every Shabbat. Sarah wore that scarf all year. But by the time Rosh Hashanah came around again, that beautiful scarf was in pretty bad shape. And her mother and father, with fear in their eyes, said, "Sarah, this is it. The scarf is a mess. It's torn and it's worn. It's got holes on top of its holes. Sarah, Rosh Hashanah is coming. It's time for something new." But Sarah said, "Oh no, Granny can fix it." And Sarah brought her scarf to her grandmother's house, and her grandmother looked at it, and she did a double oy vey. And she took it in her hands, and she turned it around, and she began to work. And she snipped, and she stitched, and she clipped, and she sewed, and she made Sarah a fabulous button. And Sarah loved her button, her incredible Rosh Hashanah button. And she wore it to temple, and she wore it every day throughout the year. And one day, when her family was getting ready for Rosh Hashanah the next year, her mother looked at Sarah and said, "Sarah, where's your button?" Sarah looked down, but her marvelous, beautiful button was nowhere to be found. Sarah looked everywhere. She couldn't find that button. And her mother said, "Well, that's it. It's done. Thank God we're finished with this. And don't even think about going to your grandmother's place, because even Granny can't make something from nothing." Now, Sarah was very sad. And she went over to her granny's house and they talked. And Granny said to Sarah, you know, even the best of us can't make something from nothing. I'm sorry. But Sarah thought, and then she began to write. And she wrote down this beautiful Rosh HaShanah story that I'm telling you. And why? Well, because Sarah wanted you to be as excited and eager to come and celebrate the new year as she was with all of her different Rosh Hashanah new things, her blanket and her coat and her scarf and her button. So perhaps with something new, perhaps with just knowing that we get to start a new year with people around us that we love, people around us that we get to wish a Shana Tova Umituka, a good year, a sweet year for all of us. Shana Tova. We think of many people in our community, in our world, who are deeply in need of healing. And so we join in a prayer for healing. Misha Berach. Avinu Malkeinu, those precious words which call to mind the holiday. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families. We join together in Aleinu.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We call to mind those members of our community, all those whose lives were a blessing to us. As we take their memories into our hearts with our own, as we turn to the words of Kaddish, those words which connect us to generations past and on whose shoulders we stand. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach erutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shlam Rabbah mevorach le'elam u'larmeh armaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekutsha brichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. We thank God for the opportunity to have Kiddush and Motzi together, and so we'll join together. Yael, why don't you lead us?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon.
We want to wish everybody a most beautiful, happy, and healthy Shana Tova, a year filled with wonder and goodness, a year of the end of this pandemic, God willing, and a year in which we can celebrate together. Shana Tova u'mituka, a good year, a sweet year to you all. Thank you for joining us, and thank you, Yael, for lending your beautiful voice and your guitar, and we look forward to seeing everybody. The congregational service will begin at 7 o'clock, so just over an hour, just a little less than an hour, and then tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., and then 5 p.m. we'll be in person at Frontier Park. We'll see you then. Shana Tova, everybody.